most common questions that I get asked through this channel are in regards to car buying. People will send me links to like Craigslist ads or Auto Trader ads, and they'll say, hey, what do you think of this deal? Should I buy it? Is this gonna be a good car? And I can't tell you that without actually seeing the car in person, test driving it, looking under the hood, but I can give you some advice. Today I'm going to give you 5 common mistakes to avoid when buying a car. That way your next car purchase goes a little bit more smooth. So just a heads up, some of these on this list I know are going to be controversial, and that's okay. I think it's good to hear different opinions, different viewpoints, and I would actually welcome your comments down below. Maybe you disagree with me, maybe you have some different tips of your own that you would like to add. Please leave a comment and let us know what you're thinking. So the first thing on this list of 5 mistakes to avoid is buying a brand new car. Now I know this is probably one of the most controversial things that I'm going to talk about, but that's just how I feel about it. Cars are the most expensive things that we buy that go down in value. If you take my BMW 330xi for example, that car was originally I think around $48,000 is what the first owner paid for it. I bought the car 6 years ago with 20,000 miles and I only paid $18,000, so that's a huge loss in value for being driven so few miles. So one of the biggest arguments that I hear for buying new cars is that people don't want to deal with repairs, or even if the car does break, it's still covered under the original manufacturer warranty. But dude, the car lost $30,000 in value. With 30 grand nowadays, you could buy a whole fleet of E90s, and if something broke, like the water pump goes bad, just throw it out and move on to the next one. There's no repair on that car that would cost $30,000 to fix, and that's how much money the first owner lost in value on that car. So you just have to decide if it's going to be worth it to you. Do you want to be the first owner who just gets killed by depreciation? Or do you want to be the second or third owner coming through and getting the deal of a lifetime on a car? Another funny argument that I hear is people say, I want to be the first person to fart in the seats. Well, I hate to tell you that if you've ever had passengers in your car for more than 30 minutes, they probably farted. It might not have been audible, you might not have heard it, but it's a scientific probability that that has happened in your car, even if it was brand new. Another common mistake that I'll admit that I've made myself, especially when I was younger, is getting too excited and not thoroughly checking out the car before you buy it. Now realistically, the average car buyer is probably not mechanically inclined, and that's okay. Just bring along a friend or family member who knows about cars that can really give it a solid look through before you go ahead and purchase it. Research the most common problems for the make and model that you're looking at. I've done a lot of videos on this channel for the E90 platform, but there's tons of resources out there for just about any car that will tell you what things to look for. Another thing that you can consider is something called a pre-purchase inspection. That's where you actually pay a shop to thoroughly go through the car and look for mechanical issues. It might seem like a waste of money to spend, a few $100s to have a car looked at if you're not even sure that you're gonna buy it, but it could potentially save you thousands from buying like a lemon or some car that's gonna have some serious problems right after you've bought it. Another big mistake that people make is not negotiating on the price. So negotiation is actually a really crucial part of the car buying process. It's something that takes a long time to get good at, and you're going up against these car salesmen who spend every minute of every day getting better at negotiating, but it's always worth a try when you go to the dealership to make a purchase. This is especially true in the used car market where there's so many different variables like mileage and wear and tear that can affect the price of the car. The sticker price is just like the hopeful number that the dealership writes on the windshield, with the big green neon marker, and that's just the price that they're hoping to get for the car. It's really important before you even go to the dealership to do some research. There's a lot of different tools online that can help you find the high and low price that that model is selling for in your area, and have that number in mind when you go to negotiate. Is there anything wrong with the car cosmetically? Does it need new tires right away? Did they find anything maybe in that pre-purchase inspection that needs to be addressed immediately? Those are all points that you can use to negotiate a better deal on the car. When we bought our FRS a couple years ago, the tires were dry rotted and they were worn down to the wear bar. There was also cosmetic wear and tear throughout the inside and outside of the car, and we pointed those all out to the salesman and used that to negotiate a better price. Remember, it doesn't hurt to throw a number out there. The worst that they can do is tell you no, and don't forget you can also negotiate the value of your trade-in as well. Again, it helps to know what your car is actually worth that you're trading in. A lot of times dealerships will just give you a lowball offer on it because they know that it's a lot easier for you to just give the car to them and take a discount off your bill rather than going home and trying to sell it on your own. But a lot of times you can actually get a lot more money by doing it yourself rather than trading it in. So if they offer you a lowball number on your trade-in, just tell them, look, you know what, I'm going to take take this home, I'm going to list it on Craigslist or on Facebook Marketplace because I know that I can get more money for it that way. A lot of times they might actually make you a better offer just so that you don't leave the lot. Remember, the salesman's worst fear is that you're going to go home and think about it, because that's when they lose the deal. So just tell them, look, I got to think about this. I got to sell it online maybe. A lot of times they might actually come at you with a better offer. Another big mistake is buying all the unnecessary add-ons that the dealership tries to sell you, at the end of the deal. Now, this might be controversial, but it's something that I feel really strongly about. I never buy any of that stuff from the dealership. The overpriced floor mats, no. The wheel protection plan, no. Extended warranty, hell no. I have a full video actually on why I would never buy warranties for cars. If you're in the market for a car, definitely check that video out first. I'll link it down below if you want to watch that one. But look, it only adds a couple dollars a month to your car payment over the course of 72 months. Yeah, I don't care. I don't want it. All that stuff is just ultra high profit things that the dealership tries to add on to squeeze every last penny out of that deal. My opinion is that you need to be able to self-insure. Everybody needs an emergency fund that can cover basic car repairs and maintenance, and if buying a certain car either prevents you from saving money or it completely wipes out your savings, then it's not the car for you. Ideally, I think that everybody should have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, or just at a bare minimum, keep $1,000 in the bank as your emergency fund. But don't let a car put you in a position where you're living paycheck to paycheck and you have to rely on these expensive warranties to cover basic repairs. The number one biggest mistake that people make when buying cars is actually buying too much car or spending too much on the car. Now, I know that might sound obvious, like obviously you just buy what you can afford, but I see it happen all the time. I've seen close friends of mine just devastated by huge car payments that either forced them to get second or third jobs or prevented them from moving out and getting their life started. Now, whether we want to argue that financing a car is good or bad, that could be a topic for a whole another video, but when you hear about people who half of their income goes to car related expenses in some way, whether it's the payment, the insurance, the fuel, or a combination of those, it's just heartbreaking. And there's a famous Dave Ramsey call where a college kid with a BMW actually, he has a $600 a month payment on a $2,000 income. And you just listen to something like that and you wonder, how did a bank let that transaction go through? When a car payment is so high that it prevents you from saving, investing, moving out of your parents' house maybe, or even taking the risk to change jobs, you don't own that car, the car owns you. Be aware of how much your monthly income is going to your car, and when you're signing up for that big payment, don't forget to factor in things like insurance, fuel costs, and routine maintenance. If you have any other car buying mistakes to avoid, or maybe you just disagree with something that I said, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd love to start some good discussions down there. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. So if you've been following me the last couple of months, you might have remembered that my wife and I just bought this house in October. We're gonna do a full tour, walkthrough type video. There's still some things that we need to finish up in here. When we bought this house, it looked completely different. We painted every wall, changed out a lot of the light fixtures, some of the plumbing fixtures, and it's just been a ton of work. That's why I've been a little bit slow with the videos on the channel recently. But it's all coming together, and I promise you guys we will show you everything once it's all done. And lastly, for anyone who's been following the garage build, I finally found a heater that I really like. Thank you for all your suggestions on heaters. Those of you who suggested a kerosene one, as you can see, that's what I ended up going with. I like this one a lot. It's exactly what I needed for my budget. The amount of heat output and the amount of time that I'm going to be spending in here, this is exactly what I was looking for. This unit, and I'll go into more detail on this when I do the next garage video, but it was $140. I'll link it down below if I can find it. And then it just runs off of this clean kerosene, which you can buy pretty much any hardware store. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. And this thing puts out so much heat, it's amazing. I was actually out here the other day like vacuuming Katie's car and cleaning her interior for her, and I just had on a t-shirt. It's like 30 degrees outside and I'm in here with a t-shirt on sweating. I actually had to turn it off because I got too hot. So this thing is just awesome. Highly recommend it for a garage. And I'm eventually gonna have to get like a smoke detector and a carbon monoxide detector, all that good stuff. I do keep a fire extinguisher nearby when I use it, but besides that, this thing is awesome. Highly recommend it.